in Italia as an ambulance runs past us. Oh my gosh.
We're currently on a trail. Would you call this a trail, like a walking path?
I'd say a walking path next to the highway on a mountain.
Which is just insane. Looking at this mountain that you can also see from our place, and it's just stunning. But we were going to go on a hike this morning, but our march is clearly not the next one, and everything's closed. So we're just hopping around to different towns.
Yeah. We are based in Cortina d'Ampezzo, and it's in literally it's called the Pearl of the Dolomites, so we're in the middle of the Dolomiti Mountains, which is I don't know, picture the Dolomites. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is my first time in Italy and Cortina. I was first time in Cortina, and it has exceeded all of my expectations. This trip has been a trip that I've been wanting to go on since I was I don't know, for forever. I have wanted to go here, so it's been the best.
It's been so fun. I think we got here, what day was that? Late Friday night, and it was dark, and we couldn't see the mountains on the bus, except for their faint outlines. And so we woke up on Saturday morning, and I think the first thing that I thought was, one, wow, God is so cool, but two, I am so small in comparison to his vastness, and what a perspective that is.
And you just look at these structures, and it comprehends the beauty and the shapes, and you just look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, I noticed this and I noticed this, and I think noticing has been such a big word for me the past couple of days. Abby's been volunteering at the Paralympics, so I've gotten some time to explore on my own. Obviously, I wish I was with Abby, but it's been really cool to quiet my heart and take space to just go and notice things. It's so cool.
Yeah, I think notice has been a big word for me since a while, but really hit on it as a focus word this summer. Just are you being intentional to notice everything? Not just the big things or the seemingly important and significant things, but the little things and the details. So I think the Lord often shows up there in ways that if we're not being intentional, we miss. And Katie and I went on a hike up the mountain that our cabin is on yesterday morning, which honestly felt like Narnia to me.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
We didn't even know it existed either. We just kept walking and found an old ski lift and this restaurant that may or may not exist. We don't really know.
But on the top of the mountain, what? Yeah. But we meditated on Psalm 8, and it's oh Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. And it's I think when you're staring at these things that are so much bigger than you, you're forced to view his majesty in a new way, and forced to notice the little things because you yourself are so small. What a gift that's been.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Put so much into perspective, especially when you do travel, because you just learn so much about yourself too. And for me personally, I have a hard time being present, and I feel like that just keeps coming up because it's when I'm at home, I want to multitask and I want to perform and I want to do all of these things. And being here, there's been no desire to be on my phone, no desire to read a book, or I just want to be outside. And I think we don't take advantage of the nature that God has given us because we are a society in the West that lives indoors. And so it's been so sweet to be able to experience such beauty and to just be reminded that like following Jesus does not mean knowing your Bible inside out, knowing theology, having it all figured out. It means simply resting in the beauty that He has created, resting and leaning into that, and being reminded that like He has created all of this, and yet I'm still just as precious, if not more, than His hands that are on all of these things that I can't even comprehend exist. And I'm literally like walking in a valley below them right now. And that has just been so sweet. And I think I'm rambling. Do you have anything to say? Abby's been yapping this whole trip. It's been the best thing ever, guys, because Abby on caffeine.
I'm a cracked chipmunk.
Cracked chipmunk times 10. I mean, it's hilarious. I have we have a snort count because when I laugh, I snort 10.5 times, guys. The half is like whatever.
I was not okay. I was like actually dying from the caffeine, and just like I could not shut up. But also I'm hilarious, guys, and I don't think Katie realized how funny I am.
No, because I just haven't seen this side of her. Whenever we're hanging out, we're like, she's in school mode, we're in whole mess mode, like just get ish done.
But Italy is my Disney, so I'm in little kid mode right now. And
it's almost been as cool to watch Abby as it is to experience these mountains. Because she's just that entertaining.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I could entertain you, Katie. She didn't know what she's getting into when she signed up to come with me.
Until she picked me up at the airport and was talking to her mom. Do I have this? Do I have this? It was awesome. It was so funny.
Yeah, my mom is my my pal when it comes to making sure everything is good. And she's the bestie I call when I get hit on by a cute Italian man.
Oh, that's a story.
That's a story. It's a story for another time. Yeah. But no, this is my first time traveling to Italy, like not solo because I'm with Katie, but in a small group, because last trip I was with a group of about 10 or so, and the group before that there were 15 students, but then there were some missionary leaders as well. And so we were with a bunch of guys, and I didn't experience the culture of Italy, of Italian men, where it's like they're just gonna stare at you and they're gonna look at you and they're gonna wave at you and they're gonna honk at you and they're gonna like come up and say hi. And so this is my first time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the stories about Italy and Italian men are true. Which is really funny. But I'm also like, okay.
We got honked out 3 times yesterday.
Yes, and one of the honks, he like blew us a kiss. I was dead.
What in the world?
It's like, what the heck? But I think for me too, it's like, okay, but do they know this guy Jesus, who's like really cool? Because if not, let me tell you about him.
Yeah.
So I don't know, guys. Maybe the strat in Italy is to flirt to convert. I can't believe I said that on tape.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm literally just playing. No, that's not the strat.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it.
Not it at all.
That's hilarious.
I think it's just to approach it from the joy and the life abundance that we have in Jesus, and they're going to see your light and your radiance, and I think that's also what kind of attracts them to us. Is because that's so different. There's a different view on Jesus here in Italy because the soil here is really hard spiritually. Less than 1% of all Italians actually know Jesus, and so what a gift it is to come over here and just like learn about their culture and their faith. And Katie and I have had a lot of conversations about their culture, which has been really cool just to see. Like, I think when you travel, it just opens your mind up so much to what else is out there and the differences. But I think it also reassures you, and like, we're all human and we all operate at our core the same. It's just learning those cultural, societal differences and how to kind of communicate through them. But I love Italy. It's like my second favorite country. Everybody in my family is convinced I'm going to move here. So we shall see. But we got to get fluent first. Don't know enough.
That's another thing that Abby is like Vincent, I have Snurcat. She has a I'm not fluent count, and for her Olympic picture.
No, we're not sharing that on tape,
Yeah,
girl.
we are. Yeah, we are, babe. She's like, it was so funny because we had kind of like a moment of panic right before she took her picture. So this guy was like, "You can't smile," and then another guy was like, "You can kind of smile." So I was like half smiling,
Trying not to
stressed the heck
laugh.
out, trying not to laugh. Meanwhile, he just snaps this picture, and now she's like, "Oh, I hate my picture."
Guys, it's so bad. I
so
look
funny.
puffy. I look
You
stressed.
look
I look a
beautiful.
little high, and my hair's messed up.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm like, nobody look at this picture. But of
It's
course,
so
everybody has to look at the picture because they have to scan my accreditation card when they check me in for the games. And I'm getting looks about it. But I'm like, yeah, look up. My face does not look like what the picture says. It was an off morning, guys, I promise. It was jet lag, sleep deprived. Oh my gosh. I think this time may have been like the hardest sleep-wise getting here. Like just it took me a couple more days than like the last few times, but I think it's because we got here and then immediately had to train all day the first day we were in Italy. So it threw off our meal times, it threw off just our rhythms. We napped when we shouldn't have, and it was just, I don't know. But we've adjusted within like 3 days, which is good. So I'm feeling good. Katie's feeling better, right?
I had very rough adjustment coming into this trip because Abby learned this about me, but I'm very sensitive to sleep and how sleep affects me, especially like when I travel. I get really anxious when it comes to my sleep, and so I only slept 2 hours, like 36 hours of travel, and then
Just not good if you didn't know.
And got here, laid down, and just had a moment. And
that's okay. Moments are allowed when you're in
yes,
Italy.
and I'm very grateful that I was able to work through that, and it's been great. And I've gotten 7-8 hours of rest tonight, so not
Praise the
fully
Lord.
recovered, but
On the
we're
up.
on the up. And praise God for that.
Yeah.
He's been so kind to me. And that, guys, there's so many dogs here, and they're so cute. And one of like my traits in the States is around campus, I would just be like, "Can I pet your dog? Can I pet your dog?"
It's a fluff ball.
So scared to like ask somebody, but German Shepherds and Golden Retrievers are my two favorite dogs. I've seen so many. It's like,
oh yeah, I had to.
Side. Like I can't ask. I don't know if that's like offensive to their culture.
That's something I actually don't know that we need to figure out in this trip. But I did tell her culturally the Italians love their dogs.
But I just like stop and stare.
And you haven't even seen the worst of it because we're in like a mountain town, and so like yeah, there are a lot of dogs here, but like just wait till we go to the cities and you're like, why are there so many dogs in the middle of these cities? It's like because the Italians are obsessed with their dogs, like obsessed, worse than Americans, I swear.
That's crazy.
Which is really saying something, but I love it. I love it.
I feel like Americans love their dogs too. Abby, what do you feel like is one of the biggest cultural differences between the States and Italy? Because this is your third time here.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to several different places,
and
I've only gotten to experience like this culture, and I've already learned so much. And actually, we'll start there. But I'm going to throw this out into the air and you can answer after.
Okay.
Do you think culturally in Italy between like in different cities, cultures shift a little bit as well?
Okay.
Or is it pretty much the same and pretty consistent across all cities that you've been to?
Okay, so I'll answer that second question first, actually. Yes, culturally, it is different city to city, and it is different region to region. They have regions and provinces kind of like the way that we have states. And so when you travel between their like cuisine changes, the foods that we know and love in the states that are Italian come from different regions within Italy. The dialects are different, and then the north versus the south is a really big difference. Southern Italians tend to be louder and more flamboyant. I think that's a product of like they are close to the sea. And there are some other things too. I have friends from Sicily, and so they've told me a lot about the cultural differences, but they live in the north for school, and they actually struggle a little bit because there is a bit of like a little bit of a disagreement, or like it's not always the northern and the southern Italians like love each other. So yes, they are different. I'd say like comparing to the States, I'd say like I feel like Texas is a state that's like, whoa, that's really out there compared to the rest. And I think that's a little bit more like the way Sicily is versus like the North, for like an actual analogy. As for the biggest cultural difference, girl, there's so many.
Okay, how about you choose
I think
three that you feel like are very present and that you notice often?
Okay. I think from a physical standpoint, their infrastructure is built for walking, and built for trains and buses. And so, yes, they have cars and yes, they use them, but like you're gonna see an Italian out walking, and that's how they stay fit, eating everything they do. But I think the walking creates this vibrancy because they're more alive and awake because they're moving their bodies more. And so you'll often see Italians walking on trails, walking through the cities, going to parks, and just like hanging out and laying out. So I think that's a big one. And I think pacing of life is such a huge difference. And that is something that I fell in love with because we're in America and it's hustle culture and it's go have these big ambitious dreams and don't ever rest and stop until you achieve them, which could be 30 years from now, and then you're burnt out and then you hate it and you're not satisfied. And you realize, oh my gosh, my entire life passed me by. I didn't travel, I didn't go anywhere, I didn't do anything until I'm 80, and now my hip is failing and I can't.
Yeah.
Whereas the Italians are like, they might not necessarily travel and go do all of that adventurous stuff, but they're going to notice life and they're not going to let life pass them by. They're not going to be on their deathbed and they're going to be like, wow, I really like regret not pouring into this relationship, or I really regret like not sitting and noticing stuff around me, because that's just daily part of life. They have a saying, it's called the dolce vita, and that means the sweet life. And so that's like plastered everywhere. And then there's another phrase, I forget it in Italian, but it's talking about slowness and noticing. My Italian brain's not working right now. I'll find it. But basically that's the point of like their culture is built to stop. You get a coffee, and then Katie and I just experienced it. We went to a cafe and Katie was like, can I get this cappuccino to go? Which is that porta via in Italian. And she's like, no, solo qua, or solo qui, which means like only here. And so we had to stop and we had to wait, and Katie had to drink her coffee. But it's like 5 to 10 minutes. And it's like us Americans really can't just like spend 5 to 10 minutes slowing down to drink a coffee or eat a pastry slowly and enjoy every bite. It's like, no, we have to grab it to go, and we have to eat it while we're walking. And then our heart rate's up and we're like, it doesn't even taste good, and I don't even want this because my digestive system's not working because I'm all adrenaline because I'm going to the next place. So I think that's a huge thing. I mean, gosh, the first time I was here, I was sitting at a bar, which is a cafe for coffee. I was having 4 to 5 hour conversations, not touching my phone once. Like, Italians aren't afraid to be late. Like, they'll be late to things, because they'd rather prioritize the person in front of them and the thing in front of them than what's in the future, which obviously can come with its own downfalls and things. But that's something that I really appreciate, and it brought me down to a level of rest that I don't really think I'm able or capable of achieving outside of Italy, which is crazy. Because I think the first time I was here, I was like, I am committing to bringing the slowness of pace back. I'm getting out of the rat race. I'm getting off the hamster wheel, and I'm going to be intentional about it. I think it lasted for maybe 3 weeks. it's just so hard because our culture's not built for that. And then I think bouncing off of that is the third one. This is a lot, but there's so much here. The third one is the depth of relationship. And so I think that goes with the slowness of pace of like, they're going to be intentional with you. They're going to be open and friendly. You can have a conversation with somebody you just met and go from, wow, Italy, this food, this culture is amazing, to let's talk about Jesus and God and how religion and faith plays in. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about, what are the traumas you've been facing? What are the things that I had a conversation the first time I was here with a girl. I sat down in the cafe of the University of Bologna and had a conversation with this girl over lunch. Just met her. And by the end of the conversation, we're talking about the fact that she lost her best friend to a really rare, fatal form of brain cancer 3 years ago. And the reason she no longer believes in God is because she's so angry at the fact that she lost somebody so young to something so out of their control. And he didn't answer the prayers to heal. And so you literally go from yapping about pop culture to almost sobbing across the table with an Italian about the realness of life. And they're not afraid of that. They're not going to shy away from that. Some of them will be more open than others, of course. I think that also plays into the North versus the South. But no, they want to know you. They want to get to know you. They want you to feel special, and they want you to view them the same. Which is how I have so many Italian friends, and I've only been here 3 times, and I haven't spent like a year here yet. So yeah, I think, does that answer everything? That was probably like a whole 10-minute yap. But again, I'm also caffeinated today, guys.
I forgot to order her decaf, and she only had half. I finished it. I want 2.5 coffees.
And Katie's feeling good. Yeah. Katie, what have you noticed?
I think the biggest thing for me is, just the slowness. Even in how fast I'm walking. And I think that this is just one of the biggest wrestles of my life. How hurried I am. And Abby and I were talking about this last night. So I said, I've just been forgetting things. Like, I just don't feel like my brain. And I think there are a lot of different contributors to that. But I also think that being here, Abby and I have had conversations in the morning that have just lasted for hours. Maybe like an hour.
Yeah.
Not hours.
Yeah, our morning coffee and croissant is like at least an hour.
Yeah. And so it's just been cool to like be able to walk slowly, to notice, to have space to explore. And I also just think that everyone just like is so peaceful here. Like smiles, and there's just a warmth here too that I think comes with just the slowness that they experience when they're not hurried. They just have an attractive, I don't know, kind of lifestyle. Just like we're welcoming, we're kind, because we create space for slowness, for things to pivot, for things to not go a certain way, to not be productive. And I also think something that I have noticed is I've seen no computers. Like
the Italians work, but not outside the office.
So it's so foreign to me because in America, you go everywhere.
Sorry, we found a trail.
Computers open, heads down, and you come here and you hear children and not being accepted, not like shunned because they're being too loud. You know, that all like pieces together.
No, it does.
But also notice when I feel rushed and why I feel rushed, and get curious about that experience that I'm having too, of like, why do I feel like I need to sprint? You know, like, what is the core feeling and belief behind that? And that's just like so cool to be able to like learn about myself when I'm in spaces and compare and again have that space, because I'm not in an environment where everyone around me is hustling at a million miles per hour. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like, we're not rushed out of a restaurant. We're not rushed to do anything by the Italians. And I think that's where our like almost cognitive dissonance happening of like, it's so ingrained for us as Americans to not just be rushed internally, but to be rushed externally, because you're always seeing somebody going, you're like, oh, this cafe needs their tables free. I need to leave. I can't linger. I can't stay. It's and so then you're always like, you're just always moving, but not in a healthy way. Like the Italians are moving, but they move slowly. And it's more in a way where it's like, this is intentional for my body and my mind and my soul, not for what I need to get done and accomplish. And so I think that's something that's really cool. I mean, I at the Paralympics even, like, it's all Italians around me volunteering and serving, which one has been a test of my language abilities. It's actually been really cool to see how I've grown in just 2 days. But that's besides the point. It's been interesting to watch how, like, even in an organizational setting like that, they're not like, they might be rushed because something's urgent, but it doesn't seem like it's in a stressed or frazzled way. Like I was almost late yesterday. Like I got there at like 3:25 and my shift was supposed to start at 3:30, so I had to go check in and I had to get back to the checkpoint so like I could know what I was going to be doing. And I'm like speed walking at like, well, I have a long stride.
Abby has a long stride, and my ankle just.
She's still working on her ankle.
I'm still working on her ankle.
But it was like the pace that I walk around campus, like class to class, hurried, because I was like, I need to like time. I kept checking my phone. The amount of odd looks I got from the Italians was, they were like, who is this girl walking this fast and why? Like literally I'd pass somebody in their head would like whip around and they seemed concerned for me. And I was like, oh, right. Like they actually don't care if I'm late. Like I'll just be put on something and it'll be fine. But it's again so ingrained in me of like, if I'm not early, I'm late. Which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but I think when it becomes like that default and you're not allowed to give yourself grace for not doing that is where the problem is.
That's so good. I also think it's just how interesting it is that it's concerning when people are hurried.
Yeah.
Like, so countercultural.
So countercultural.
And
especially since they think I'm Italian.
They do.
So like, what is this Italiana doing? Yes. Like, what is happening?
There's no blonde people here. I stand out like a sore thumb. It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, why do you think? Because you said you like come here and you like go home with the mindset of changing your ways and like living more intentionally and more slowly. And you said it lasts for about like 3 weeks. And I see a picture of you. And then it lasts for 3 weeks. What do you think shifts within those 3 weeks? Like, do you feel like it's gradual shifts of like, you just naturally start moving slowly as you kind of come home, or is it just this like dramatic shift of like there's one event that like is like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be like this, I rush, and then I just naturally fall back into that.
I think it's a natural mix of both. I think I get back and there's this external pressure to just resume the life I was living. I think culturally as Americans we're afraid of change, in a drastic way that looks countercultural. You see that a lot within like the Christian community. As you're getting closer to Jesus, people are like, whoa, what's happening? And so I think there's that level of like, she's not talking like us anymore. She's not doing what we do. I don't think I know her anymore. And that has actually caused some problems with some family members and some friends of like, because I am addicted to change. I think I've said that on a past episode of like, if I'm not changing and if I'm not in a situation that makes me a little bit uncomfortable, I hate the passivity. And so what often happens is I travel, my perspective shifts, and the Lord does so much work, and I come back and people are like, what? Who are you? And so that's been a test of me of like, how can I maintain that change while still being honoring and full of grace towards the people who don't understand it because they didn't live through the same experience. That's something you'll notice with travel is like, people just can't conceptualize what you just did or what you went through, especially in America where a lot of people don't travel internationally to the same degree that Europeans do. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. We have a beautiful country to go explore. But how do I have grace for those people and approach it in a way of like, I am still me at my core. In fact, I actually am more like me because I am operating now. God's put some wires together in my circuit that were disconnected. So I think that's part of it, is the external pressure. I think then, yes, there are some events where it's like, I know I can't be late because it starts at this time, and if I go and it's late and the door opens, it's weird, and it's like that kind of thing. That does push me into like a stressed out state. School, the same thing. If a deadline approaches, I'm frantic because I like my stuff done early and ahead. So that's part of it too. But I think there's also an aspect of my pride and ambition of, well, no, hold on, I do have all these dreams and I put them on pause to go travel and go do these things. And I want to accomplish them. I want to see them through because I want to impact people in that way. And so then I get back into my whole self-conceived rat race of my timeline, what I expected to get done by a certain time, how far ahead, what are the achievements. That's like, that honestly, that might be the hardest struggle I have. Because in America, a slowness of pace when you're building something is just very foreign. But that's what God wants. He wants that slowness of pace, because a slowness of pace where you build rest in continually is sustainable. The pace where you're running constantly leads to burnout.
Well, then I think, going off your point, entering into those spaces of slowing down allows space for God to meet you. If you're running so hard, and I'm speaking to the choir, right, like speaking to myself right now, like when you don't slow down, you miss everything. You miss small moments. And I think something, as I've gotten older, I've realized that there are a whole lot more small moments than there are big moments.
Yeah.
And so seeking to enjoy, seeking to slow down first of all, but then inviting God into that slowness and really getting curious with Him to then sustainably build whatever He wants to build with you. you know, and that's uncomfortability, and that's what we don't, I think, as a culture in the West, try to choose to do at all.
Yeah.
We choose the fast life. Again, I'm like talking to myself right now. We choose to go, 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 go. That's probably why my memory is so bad. We were talking about that last night. Like, I'm so overstimulated all the time because I'm so on the go and I need to do all of these things. And I don't know. I just think like how much more we would get to experience God in our everyday life, and how much just more loving you would be. Like, the people here are kind and patient for the most part, and just accepting and are curious. And it's like, what if we created spaces like that at home to enter into spaces where people need us, or just need a second to talk, or we just get to compliment people and humble ourselves, and we don't want we don't need the compliment, we would rather give it instead of receive it. Like, I just think that so many more opportunities for community and connection in this hyper individualistic culture that we live in would actually not, it's not actually as good as we think it is. Like, the connection that Abby and I have experienced, even just like we have these journals and we're having people we meet right in them, and just getting to like step out of my comfort zone and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, what's your name? Like, I did that. We did that with a waiter last night. I did that with a barista, and a girl at a store. And we just got to talk. Like, I got to talk about where she's from, what she likes to do here, you know, like ask her questions about herself, and how quick, if I were to go to a store in America, I wouldn't have those conversations.
No.
You know, and you just get to explore how people operate here too.
Yeah.
What a gift that is that we like miss out on. You know?
It's such a gift. And I think, sorry, I'm pausing at a well. That's another thing about Italian culture.
So
is their water is good to drink,
Yeah.
especially mountain water.
And they just have it running.
My gosh. Imagine the minerals from this spring water as health girlies.
It's also crazy that, like, I'm pretty sensitive to dairy at home. We're getting better. But I'm right here having all of this milk and cheese, and I feel great, guys. Like, my stomach doesn't hurt. It's been so fun. Also, gelato, 10 out of 10.
Katie didn't understand until she had gelato yesterday.
And then I got 2.
She had 4 scoops of gelato yesterday.
I don't regret it.
And I told her, I was like, Katie, I eat it like
I kind of want
3 times a day. Oh my gosh. But yeah, going back to what you're saying about creating spaces, I think this is what Gen Z is craving right now, what Gen Z is trying to do across the world, actually. But it's cool to see, like, Italy doesn't need it, it already exists. But I think the spaces in, like, I think what Italy does need, though, are the spaces to talk about faith and to get closer to Jesus in the relational aspect. Because their culture is so relational, so familial, their family unit is so tight, but yet they don't know Jesus in the depths of which they could. And so I just wonder, like, what a country this would be if we came back to that. Like, holy smokes, that would just be incredible. And I think the Italians that you meet who do know Jesus, that's their heart, is they know this culture is built for that. It's built for getting deeper with Christ together, in a way that the U.S. just isn't yet. So that's my hope and prayer every time I come over here, is I have conversations, I talk about faith, and I build relationships, and oh my gosh, it's just the sweetest thing.
I love it.
But yeah, I think the theme of a lot of that, obviously the health benefits of being in Europe, and just the quality of food, the quality of life. But I think the biggest theme of what we've talked about today is the slowness.
Yeah.
And I think if we're piggybacking off of what we talked about last week or last episode, I don't know how many weeks ago it was. Sorry, guys.
We've been a little bit busy.
Yeah.
With life.
I think,
which is funny because we're talking about slowness.
I know. But life is messy and it's not always perfect, and it's okay to not be rigid in our schedules, like we were just talking about. But I think when we were talking about wholeness last episode, I think the question that popped into my head for this is, what if wholeness is actually slowness? Or what if the way to wholeness is slowness? Because you have to be slow enough to notice the pieces that aren't there and that are still fractured.
And invite God into those spaces and quiet your heart enough to allow Him to change it.
Yeah. So.
Good too,
So I think that's probably the reflection for this episode. Is where do you feel like the Lord is calling you into a slower pace? And how do you think you're going to be able to achieve that at home, wherever you are? Because, I can't always be in Italy. We can't always be not at home. So how do you bring that back at home?
And I also think this topic can be hard because it's like, well, if I'm rushed one day, that means I'm starting over at square zero. Or I'm looking at certain you're able to be more aware and ask God to slow your heart down. And I would even encourage small prayers like that. Like, hey, Lord, I have a really busy day today. Like, give me a spirit of slowness and intentionality. And give me a spirit of awareness to notice where you may want me to press in and be 5 minutes late. And let that be okay.
So good. So good.
So good.
I think that might be where we leave you for right now. So, like the Italians say,
ciao ciao!
Ciao ciao! Arrivederci!